Welcome to the Precision Air Rifle channel. It's finally cleared up a little bit today after 2 straight days of pretty heavy rain. And we're going to come out, try out the Labradar, and we're going to try out the Wildcat MkIII in .177 caliber. We're shooting at 20 yards because I know that yardage it's sighted in. And we'll see how accurate and how consistent this rifle is. The setting is at number 7. Regulator is at about 105 bar, and she's got a full charge on it. Let's see what we get. Okay, we shot 21 rounds into the target. Not my best shooting, but for the second time that I've shot this rifle, I'm fairly pleased. The group is to the upper left, just a hair. Once we get inside, we'll measure it. Let's take a look at what our velocities were. The Labradar will feed into my phone by a Bluetooth connection. And the only negative that I can see right now is my phone's in metric. Okay, from what I can see, my phone went to sleep. It didn't record all the data, it just recorded the last shot, which was 267 meters per second, going down to 241 meters a second at the target. We'll try this one more time and see what we get. Okay, here we go with round 2. We're going to shoot the right middle target. I did adjust the scope over to the right by 3 clicks, and we'll see what happens. Okay, there goes another 21 rounds. The point of impact did shift a little bit to the right. Not real happy with my groups, but the rifle is shooting good considering it's only a 500 millimeter barrel. My speeds are low, 870s, so I'll have to double check, but I think that's within the 20 foot-pound limit of field target, so I'm good there. Pretty impressed with the Labradar. We'll go in and see what the numbers are, because I was putting it onto the SD card also, and we'll pull the data out of the SD card and we can actually see the shot strings, we can see the velocity range, we can see the whole thing, and we'll make a graph of it and see how the pellet's acting. I'll see you in a little bit inside. Welcome back. We did our shooting outside. Now it's time to take a look at the results from this rifle and see what we think. On the sheets, I do a range card, and the range card will cover the date, time, weather, location, range, rifle, caliber, weight, projectile, barrel type, BC, velocity, the hammer distance, regulator pressure, front valve distance, and whether it has a power kit installed or not, and moderator. And then there's a space for the comments, and I leave space in the bottom so that I can take a picture of the target and import it into Excel so that I have one sheet with my information of the setup of the rifle and the results of my shooting. I will post a close-up of this on the page right here. Next, we go to the Labradar results. The Labradar results you can import into Excel, and it will give you the average, the high, the low, the extreme spread, and the standard deviation. And it will also give you each individual result for each shot you took, and for the 5 distances that you programmed. See, I programmed my Labradar, since I was shooting 20 yards, I programmed it in feet, so it gives me the velocity at the muzzle at 10 feet, 20 feet, 30 feet, 45 feet, and 60 feet. It also gives me the kinetic energy for the same distances of the pellet. So I can tell you exactly what the kinetic energy of the pellet was at the muzzle, which it is below the 20 foot-pound limit for American HFT, so I can take it to the range and to the field target match and shoot it. The measurement is 18 foot-pounds of energy at the muzzle, and at 20 feet, it's down to 17 foot-pounds. And then at the 60 feet, it goes down to 15 foot-pounds. So I lose 3 foot-pounds of energy between the muzzle and the target, which was at 20 yards. On this rifle, the average was 881.79 feet per second, with a high of 905.25 feet per second, with a low of 865.38 feet per second, with an extreme spread of 39.87 feet per second, and a standard deviation of only 8.11 feet per second. So we can see that the rifle is fairly consistent. The standard deviation only being 8 feet per second is good. I don't have to change anything on the rifle. If anything, I could increase the hammer spring just a little bit to give me a little bit more speed, but the way it's grouping with the 10-3-4s, I'm going to leave it. The velocities, if I put it onto a graph chart, you can see that it's very consistent. You don't see any big dips in it or spikes in it. I will post this sheet in the video also. What do I come to think of the rifle and the Labradar? I'm pretty impressed with the Labradar. Once I got the muzzle set to within the 6 inches and I pushed it back so that the muzzle was behind the microphone, I had no problems with it picking up the shots on this rifle. The stats that came in
came in excellent. With knowing the speed of the pellet at certain known distances, I can go into Chairgun Pro and I can figure out the BC of a pellet or a slug on my own for this particular rifle so that I know. And I did that with the JSB Heavies 10-3-4s for this rifle. With what the factory says is the BC of it is .0310. And what I got is real close, and you wouldn't expect it to be much different. I got a .0304. So there was just a little bit of a difference, but at longer ranges it can make a difference in your point of impact. So what I'm going to do is go back into Chairgun Pro, set up the rifle for a range card with the known data that I have, and see how the range card does. See how close it is to what actually is taking place on the range. I'm going to have to wait for a little bit of a warmer and drier day. Today, as you could tell, was fairly windy and it was pretty mucky out there. So I'm going to wait a little bit for it to dry out. By the middle of next week, it should be pretty nice. We've got some dry days coming. So I can take this rifle out and test some more. Only thing is, on Monday, which is only 2 days from now, my impact will be in. So I'm going to be pretty excited to see the impact. And I may set this one to the side, but I won't have the scope for it yet. So I'm kind of limited in what I can do with it. I'd like to thank you for spending your time with me, and I look forward to seeing you again in another video.